guys, I read so many books this month. I'm so proud of myself. And it's actually technically the 29th, so we still have today and tomorrow, but I don't think I'm going to be finished anything tomorrow. I am currently about to start The It Girl. Yeah, that's it. So first we're going to be talking about, I was going to say, we're going to jump right into this because I want to make this quick. We're going to talk about my DNFs. So recently I DNF'd The Overnight Guest. I am currently reading all the thrillers from the Goodreads category from the first round. And even though I know the second round came out today, but I'm still trying to read all of them from the original round, which is, it's actually going pretty well. Minus, my DNF of The Overnight Guest. I just really didn't like it. Didn't enjoy the writing style. Didn't enjoy the content. It was a DNF. That's all I have to say about it. Next book was also a DNF, and it was All of Our Demise, which is going to be a surprise to a lot of people if you watched my review on the first book. I have a review out on the first book, and I literally say it may be my favorite young adult book this whole year. And it was, until I got to this book. Oh my gosh. If you haven't watched, not a lot of people have watched it, but go watch my reading vlog where I finished series. This is in it. So just fast forward to where this is. It does have spoilers, but I'm pretty sure I say where the spoilers are. But oh my gosh, I hated this. I hated it so much. I literally DNF'd it at 200 pages, I think. Like, I read like 180, 200 pages of this book and DNF'd it because I was trying to push through it so hard. But I hated it. Everything changed from the first book. It's like they took, because it is a multiple person book, they took everything from the first book and stomped on it, including my heart, and ripped it out, ripped it to shreds, and then wrote this book. So, not happy about it. I will be getting rid of these two books, which is funny because I thought they were gonna like live in infamy on my shelves about how amazing they are, how much I love them. No, I'm getting rid of them. I also stated in that video I will never ever be picking up a book by Amanda Foody again because she did this to me in her last series. I have it over there because they're so pretty, and I had to track down the first book in hardcover. Like, I worked hard to get that first book, and I loved it. It was a 5 stars. The other 2 books in the trilogy were 2s or 1s. She did the exact same thing in the other 2 books that she did in the second book. So I can't trust her. I will not be reading from her again. And that's all I have to say about it. It's a DNF, very sad DNF. We're gonna do order of actually like newest to oldest because that's how I have my books stacked. And I also, most of the ones that I read currently are Kindles, so I'm just gonna pop them up as we go. But first, actually, it was The Golden Couple. So I most recently just finished The Golden Couple. Again, I'm reading through the Goodreads video thing. I loved this book. So much. It was so good. I did give it a 4, I believe. So say my real ratings are upstairs. This is a kind of like spur of the moment. This is a 4. There was a couple, I really liked it, but it was almost unbelievable. Like, there weren't enough hints and instances where when it was revealed who it was, you really believed it. Like, I didn't 100% believe the bad guy. So that's kind of how I felt about it, why I didn't get a 5, but otherwise it was so enjoyable. I loved reading from the therapist perspective because it's so different compared to a lot of thrillers where it's like a podcaster, which I actually really like, just a housewife, a lawyer, stuff like that, FBI agent. The therapist was a lot different. It was really fun to read from. So next I'm looking at my computer. Next I read All Good People Here. That is Kindle, so it's gonna pop it up right here. I gave that a 1. I gave it a 1. It's also part of my Goodreads challenge thing. Man, I hated it. It really wasn't that bad, but it's written by it's a debut novel. I'm gonna give that the benefit of the doubt. It's a debut novel. I actually did enjoy the writing for most of the book. The ending was terrible. The ending was so bad, unless there's a second book, but I don't think it's supposed to be like part of a sequel or something. I think it's just, that's it. But it's a podcaster who writes these books, and I was a bit annoyed because the book is literally just the John Benet Ramsey case regurgitated, like fixed a little bit how she wanted to like show it, and then regurgitate it onto a page, and like with her version of endings, I think. So I didn't love that, but it was still really entertaining until the end. The end was so bad. It was so bad that it went from a 3 to a 1 instantly. Literally, like 4 sentences made it go from a 3 to a 1. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. That all of like these like the Golden Couple, All Good People Here, and the next like 3 that I'm talking about are gonna be in that Goodreads video, so you can watch that for more information. The next one was The Housemaid. This was a big surprise. This was such a good book. I think I gave it a 4 as well. I really enjoyed it, and I do plan on picking up the second book that comes out, but it's about a housemaid who has like a criminal record, but she's hiding it, and she goes and works for this wealthy woman who's an absolute nutcase, but there may be other things going on. So it's a little intrigue. It is absurd. It is like a ridiculous book, but the ending was so, see, in this case, this is a different thing. This would have been a 3, but the ending and how it ended was so good that it bumped it up to a 4. So this is kind of like the opposite of what happened to the other one. So I actually highly suggest that one. That one was really fun. The Night Shift. Whew, I had feelings about this one. I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3, but it's about alternating time. Is it alternating timelines? It's been a while since I read this one, and it's not like really sticking in my brain that much because it was just I remember the ending a lot because I didn't like it. Not as much as I didn't like All Good People Here, but I didn't like this ending that much either. But it's about like in 1999 on New Year's, 4 people were massacred. There was 1 survivor, and that survivor is who we're following now. And there's a current case where a girl was attacked in a ice cream shop, and she was the only survivor. Other 2 girls were killed, and you're trying to figure out who's involved, if this original person was involved, someone's missing. There's a lot going on with this one. It was pretty good. It was okay. Like I feel like it started strong, and then it started like getting boring, and I was really bored by one of the there's 3, that's what it is. There's 3 different perspectives. One is a lawyer. His perspective was boring until the middle, then it got really good. The FBI agent, who's always was interesting, that one was really good. And then the original victim, hers was boring until about the middle when it met with the lawyers. So those 2 once combined were pretty good. The FBI's was always good. So that's why I gave it a 3, because I was like, It was probably going to get a 4, but then the ending. This is a very sad book. It was just too sad. I feel like a lot of authors, what they do is they have like a tragedy in the book towards the end, and then that's what they do. This one had 2, and it was just too much. Like, it compounded. There's too many sad things at the end. One was plenty, and it needed like a moment of hope. But it's what I say when I talk about in the other video. It just feels depressing. Like, it doesn't feel like the good guys won. It feels like the bad guys won because of how just like down it is. Like, it tries to be hopeful at the end, but it doesn't really succeed. Okay, anyway, I think that's it for my Kindle books, and now we're gonna move to our physical copies. But also part of that Let's Finish series thing that I have up is Kingdom of the Feared. I thought this was going to be a terrible book because I really hated the second book. Loved the first one, hated the second. This is a 4. I actually really enjoyed this one. I was surprised about that. I could not be happier with how this turned out. So this got a 4. I really enjoyed it. I thought it brought back a lot of what I loved in the first one. I feel like it brought back to that. There was much better plot. The next one that I read is another one that it was just kind of boring. It's a graphic novel. I'm trying to read more graphic novels, but this has kind of set me back. I really wanted to read a witchy graphic novel for Halloween, and the art is stunning. I mean, look how beautiful the artwork is. It's so pretty. And there's a lot of representation in this, so I was really excited. Thought it was gonna be a good time, and it was just very boring. It was very boring, and then the end was it was just sad. Again, it felt like the bad guys won instead of the good guys winning, even though like you figured everything out and everyone, like, the people who were doing the things were taken away, but it just ended so sad. Oh, like, it hurt my heart to read this, and every time I look at this, I just get sad. So this one will be actually leaving my house as soon as possible. I just wanted to keep it for this, and that's it. But this was, I think I gave this like a 2. What did I give this? I gave it a 1. I gave it a 1. That's how much I hated the end. And it was really boring. So this was not for me, unfortunately. I was really excited about this for Halloween, but I didn't even finish it during Halloween because I was so bored. I just stopped reading halfway through the month. So this one will be going. Next one that I read, huge surprise. Huge surprise. I want to say I gave it like a 4.5. I want to say I gave it like a 4.5. Or 4.25. I gave it a 4.25 because it wasn't as good as a 4.5 I just rated, but it was better than the 4s that I read. So I was a little complicated, but I read Poster Girl by Veronica Roth. I did not trust this author because this is the same author who wrote the Divergent series. But dang, does she know how to write good dystopian books. Like, she really does. So this actually takes place basically, actually, you can kind of think about it like this would take place after the Divergent series, because in the Divergent series, they're actively trying to take over the government. This, they've already taken over, they've already displaced like the bad government, and we're actually following the main character who was part of the bad government, and she's been put into like government housing away from all the citizens, and they kind of live there on their own, and she was the poster girl for the bad guys. But it's really complicated. It takes what Divergent made simple about like overthrowing governments. It made it very, very complicated. So you learn bad stuff about the new government, bad stuff about the old government, good stuff about both, and you are dealing with the ramifications of what's going on now. So it's hard. It's hard, but it's such a good book, and this one's going to like live in my head for a while. Okay, the next one was also a surprise. I read Even Though I Knew the End. It is a very short novella, and it's by C.L. Polk, and it's like, it's fantasy, but also there's some, I would say there's some magical realism in it. I'm not 100% sure. I gave this a 4. That's not surprising. It's really good. If you haven't read this, I really highly suggest. This is a really good fantasy novella. I feel like there's not that many out there. This one really works, and it's fun. It has to do with angels and demons. So our main character had made a deal years ago to save somebody. I don't think that's a spoiler. She saved somebody and gave her soul up. So she doesn't have a soul, and she's offered a deal by somebody to get her soul back if she figures out who is murdering the current people. So it's like a murder mystery combined with angels and demons and fantasy, and there's the main romance is a sapphic romance. So it's a good time. I would highly suggest this one. The next 2 books that I read, quickly to talk about, are these Twisted Bonds and these Hollow Vows. So this is a reread. This is the first book in that series. Pretty much the same how I felt about it. I think it's like a 3.5. I think it's a 3.5, but I upped it. Yeah, so it's a 4 on Goodreads, but I think it's a 3.5. And then these Twisted Bonds just continues the story, pretty much how I felt about it. I think I gave it just a flat 3. Yeah, it's got a flat 3. It's just, they're boring. I'd rather read ACOTAR for the second time than read these for the first time, which is terrible to say, but it's just like an ACOTAR. It's just an ACOTAR retelling, basically, with like worse male characters. They're so toxic. That's all I'm gonna say about it. If you want to know more about it, it's in that finishing series. I'm saying a lot. I'm trying not to. It's in that finishing series vlog. So if you want to see more about that, they just were boring. There really nothing stuck out about it. And now to the final book that I read, or aka the first book that I read this month. Huge disappointment. And a lot of people were actually wondering how I felt about this book. I got a couple comments about this book on the Twisted Retreat book unboxing. So if you're here from that, I'll be talking about A River of Ashes. Or yeah, River of Ashes. For a minute I was like, oh, is it River of Souls? I hated this. The only reason I finished this was because it was so short, and I got it from a book box, and it has like, the average rating is like, I don't know what, my Goodreads isn't working anymore. The average rating is a 4.18. It's only 400 ratings, but dang, this was like one of the worst books I've read in years. It was really bad. Like, the plot was terrible. The writing was horrendous. I was shocked about how bad the writing was. And I'm curious if it's because there's two authors. So I wonder if they just didn't mesh. But the writing was like, I was reading a first draft of a book. It was so bad. It was so choppy. I hated everybody in this story. No, it was so bad. And it was just, it's supposed to be like a dark thriller or something, but it was awful. This was a horrendous book. So unhappy with this. And it was so bad that I actually canceled my Twisted Retreat subscription. Like, it's also really expensive, but yeah, I'm gonna be getting the November box, but that's it. I'm not getting the December. I may resubscribe if the books get better, but this was so bad that I don't trust the book picks in the future. Like, I'm gonna read the next one, so when my November one comes, I will be reading that book. But oh my gosh, I just can't understand how anyone reads this and is like, this is so good. I don't get it. I hated it so much. And you're following, and I understood what it was about. Like, this isn't a misunderstanding. I knew you were reading from the perspective of a serial killer. I've read books like that before and have enjoyed them. I just thought this was atrocious because it's not even like an interesting serial killer. It's a high school teenager who is afraid of getting in trouble, and he just wants to dominate pretty girls. And I'm just like, you're not even interesting. Like, at least if I have to read from a killer's perspective, be interesting, be unique. Don't be just a jock who hates girls and is interested in overpowering them. You're boring. So I just hated it. It was mostly like the writing, though. The writing was so bad. I feel like if this was written by somebody else and you change the serial killer to someone, like I said, more interesting, this could be okay. But it was a lot of violence against women. And again, I knew that coming into it. It was still a lot. And it was very, very graphic. Like, very graphic. I would not suggest this to anyone to read it. Like, if you have it, I would say just give it away. Just give it away. It's just sad because it's a very pretty copy of this book. Like, it's beautiful. It's just the worst book I think I've ever read. Like, actually the worst book I've ever read. So that's really sad. Like I said, this is going to be going to sale immediately because I don't want it in my house. I hate it that much. So anyway, that's what I read this month. I would say, like, I feel like I got a lot read, but it was a toss-up in terms of quality. Quality, I feel like, was not there. Like, even though I knew the end was good, Poster Girl was good, Kingdom of the Feared was good, The Housemaid was good, and The Golden Couple was good. So that's 5 really good books compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 2 DNFs. So 5 out of 13 is not good. That's not good, and that's really sad. I mean, I did clear off a lot that was on my shelves, and I am doing a Goodreads video, so I don't have control over all the books I'm reading. But that's really sad. Like, that's really sad. That's all I got for you guys. I did keep it pretty short, 20 minutes, and there's some stuff I want to cut out. So I'm getting better. Getting better at being succinct, which is impressive. So anyway, that is my November wrap up. And yeah, I think it was okay. I mean, I didn't find any favorites, which really sucks. I had 2 big surprises, though. Or 3. The Housemaid, Kingdom of the Feared, and Poster Girl. No 5 stars, though, which is really sad. I would say my favorite this month is probably Poster Girl. I really liked that one, and it's sticking with me. Even though it was sad, it's like really sticking with me. So I think Poster Girl would be my favorite. And my least favorite, obviously, is River in the Ashes. Most disappointing was All of Our Demise, but A River in the Ashes, River of Ashes, can't even get the name right, was definitely the worst thing I've probably read all year. Yikes! Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys read this month, if you guys read any of these, what you thought about them, if you disagreed. If you liked River of Ashes, let me know why you liked it, because I don't understand. If you read any of the others books, let me know what you guys thought, and make sure you subscribe because I will be coming out with that December TBR eventually. I also have that Goodreads video I will be coming out with, even though it's taking a long time, but I'm on track. I'm on track to finish it, which is shocking, so I'm excited about that. And there's tons of reviews, etc., that are going to be coming out. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those, and like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.